Next up, it was
you saw this?
Wizard of Space and Time, which was just a...
Wizard of Speed and Time.
Or Speed and Time. It's a short film. It's like a perennial thing or annual thing that they do.
Again, I didn't see the point of this, but that's just me.
Plan 9, I see why they put it in there. It's a midnight movie. They enjoy doing it. There's plenty of things that's audience participation.
This is just kind of
whenever the UFOs come up, everyone has paper plates. Everyone, and you are going to get the shit beat out of you with paper plates because hundreds of these things are flying through the air.
They do rock. They rock you hard.
And you know, whenever you see Bella, you yell Bella, and whenever it's the dentist doing this, you yell not Bella.
Yeah,
and day and night you yell that. It's stuff that keeps you entertained all the way through. So yeah, I see it.
Thomasine and Bushrod. This is probably the worst choice of the fest to me.
In short, this is blaxploitation Bonnie and Clyde. And
that's all there is to say.
That's all there is to it. And it's not fun in the way you think blaxploitation is. It's not, those jive turkeys are going to show them honkies what the business is. No, it's
that would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting. It's almost played as straight as if you had white actors in it. It's Thomasine is this no-nonsense woman who's pushing around Bushrod, who's kind of this small-timer, and they go rob banks.
That's it.
And the cops are chasing him.
The marshal looks a little like Brad Dourif.
And in the end, they have the Bonnie and Clyde end.
Yeah, I mean, it's not particularly vulgar. There's no, like, pornographic scenes. It's not like...
It's not ultra-violent. There's no nudity.
Gory.
There's barely any cursing in it.
There's nothing, like, funky about it. So, like, if you're looking for any, like, blaxploitation, like, staples of blaxploitation, you're not going to find it. There's just nothing stereotypical about it. There's nothing... I don't know why this was chosen. You know, it's not riff-worthy. It's just kind of standard. You know,
it was too good.
It was actually just kind of an average movie.
And that's not a compliment. That's the worst thing I can say is that
it was worse than bad. It was boring.
Yeah.
You know, it was that kind of movie to me.
And really that took me out of a lot of it.
Yeah.
We
tried.
Because I'd been up. It started at 6 p.m. I'd been up since 5 in the morning that day to catch my flight in there. So I was like, oh. And that was the start of my slow decline. Next up was Lifeforce.
Lifeforce is great.
I saw Lifeforce before, so I stayed up for that, and I knew the reaction that everyone would have. It's awesome.
Lifeforce had titties all over it.
It's Tobe Hooper, who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he was given a big budget to create vampires in space. And that's not me being snipey. That's the name of the source material, is the space vampires.
Yeah.
And they changed the name because they threw a budget on this, and they didn't want like a $30 million film called The Space Vampires. So it's called Lifeforce.
I hate the title Space Vampires, but had they called it Space Vampires, it probably would have made twice as much.
And so it's like one of the things that's great is that they spent so much money on it, and it's a schlocky film.
But it does show because the effects on the vampires and shit are actually
it's fantastic. Like one of the things I was saying is that the score for this is amazing.
The score is probably it's too good for this movie.
It's too good. It's the London Symphony Orchestra, and it's something that if you heard the audio, it's dun 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 dun, and it's
you're like
I want to have the score for this because it's incredible.
That sounds like it's the Monday Night Football,
and it's for a movie that's about tits and zombies and space vampires.
This came before Species, right?
Oh yes,
yeah. Species ripped this off.
The movie is about there's this team of astronauts that's going to Halley's Comet, and when they're going there, they see that there's a ship hidden in Halley's Comet's tail or something like that.
This is fairly standard.
And so they go over there, and they find 3 perfectly cryogenically frozen people, 2 males and a female, and
big boobies.
And the female is completely naked, and for the most part, She is naked through this entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
And she is incredible. And so...
Big boobies.
And so, generally what happens is she sucks the life force out of you, which turns you into this puppet husk of a zombie who goes out and tries to suck the life force out of other people. So it's this spreading disease.
That's not important. What is important is that 2 hours later, you, like, reanimate and then try to feed on other people.
Yes.
Failing this, you don't die. You don't just, like, collapse. Like you have to feed 2 hours later on somebody else. But if you don't, you, like, die for real. But you don't just, like, collapse. You fucking explode! And you just fucking explode. You explode!
You turn into dust and you blow up.
You blow up like you, like, had a fucking swallowed dynamite.
What's funny is the scientists testing these people.
Yeah.
And it happens one time.
They were like, that was awesome. Let's do it again.
It really was almost like, that was awesome. Let's get another zombie in there to do
like,
it.
we got any other ones? They always put one guard on the sealed alien corpses. You know, the naked woman. There's one guard on the sealed alien coffin, you know?
Well, the thing is, they try to take it seriously, but you cannot help but think of just pervish shit. Because one by one, like, there's this naked, big-titted woman in the basement. And, of course, the guard comes in and is like, boy, there's a big-titted woman in there.
He seriously goes in there and honks her boobie like it's a clown horn.
And so she's sucking his life force out, which he doesn't know. He's just like, I want to make it with this big-titted woman. And so she starts sucking out his life force. And so there's another guy who's watching this on a security monitor.
And he's like, what
the fuck? And so he goes down, and he sees the big-titted woman, and she goes up to make up with him.
And he's like, I can't help resisting you. Like, and he's like, I can't resist you, yeah.
And it's supposed to be that she has this mind power over people.
Yeah,
when really you're just thinking,
these guys are pervs.
These guys are pervs. And so she starts sucking the life force out of him, and another guy walks in, sees this on the security monitor, and goes down too, and you're just going, this whole movie is just going to be an endless loop of someone walking in going, I gotta check that out. Oh, naked woman.
Because the scenes play the exact same way, because, like, the guy sees it on the monitor, just like, oh no! And then he runs down the stairs real fast, but then it happens again. The guy sees it on the monitor, is like, oh no! And then he runs down the stairs, and I'm like, if the whole movie is like this, like, she clears the whole building out this way, this will actually be great. But no.
And to make more long story short,
let's skip ahead.
One of the people is one of the astronauts, Steve Railsbeck.
He sucks. I hate him in this movie.
He has some kind of a connection, but they don't know how. And so later on, the big-titted woman, she has this ability to jump from body to body, and so they're wondering, like, who is she? Because she's jumped into different bodies. They never explain it, or they did, and I just missed it. Yeah. But they're trying to figure out who it is, and so they run into Patrick Stewart, and everyone's like, yay, Patrick Stewart! And so they figure out the shocking twist is that she jumped into Patrick Stewart's body. And so...
he gives a good performance in this movie. My two favorite lines in this movie was, he's in the cell over there. He's been very naughty. And then my second favorite line is, yeah!
It's when they strap him down.
Yeah!
He gives out. But later on...
That's about all he says, really.
Railsbeck is trying to force the psychic connection, and it comes out that the space vampire is using his mojo once again to take over his mind to make him kiss him so that she gets more power from him. But within the scene, like, you're supposed to be thinking that it's the big-titted woman who's luring him back over here, but it's
he can see through the illusion. So, like, he knows that he's kissing Patrick Stewart, so he's, like, freaking out,
And this is the most tension that you have in the entire movie. Like everyone else, they know that if they kiss this woman, they're turning into a broken husk of a zombie
But
whose only purpose is to suck out more life force. And everyone puts up less of a struggle. They're okay with this as long as they get to make it with a naked woman.
Yeah.
But the prospect of making out with Patrick Stewart was the most terrifying thing that you could ever tell someone, because Steve Railsback is like, no!
Nothing else.
No!
Nothing terrifies the hero of this movie as much as the prospect of kissing Patrick Stewart, because like he's like trying to like mentally resist this urge, and he is seriously like about to puke. He's like, and like he finally does it. He's like, and he finally does it. He's like, like he seriously does not want to catch the gay. And I'm like, dude,
being a zombie, okay, but even I have limits. Okay,
I'm really not exaggerating that reaction.
No,
no, he's
it's really the camera zooming in as if to show like this is the point
there's
of view of Patrick
like
Stewart.
stabbing music stings. It's like,
and Railsback is like, no.
I can't. I'm no homo. No, like it's like he's like, I think I Counselor Troy.
And is there really any more to say about Lifeforce?
That's about it, really. Yeah,
making out with Patrick Stewart and Big Titty
and then Patrick Stewart's head melts.
Yeah, there's the kind of Raiders of the Ark Nazi melting.
That was pretty awesome, really.
That was.
I just blew my voice out doing Steve Railsback.
But that is the incredible thing, is that they spent so much money on really a B film.
And then that head scientist has the Kurgan's broadsword for no reason.
And that somehow becomes the weapon.
How does he know how to kill the vampires? Is he like one of the Van Helsings? He just knows how to kill them. And he has the Kurgan's broadsword.
It's some spear. I don't know.
He's like, I found how to kill them. You have to stab them in the energy center just below the third rib. And I'm like, how do you know this? And he's like, I just do. I work in NASA.
That really needed a drunk Peter O'Toole.
I thought, he was really channeling Peter O'Toole. Because I was thinking of his performance in Phantoms.
Yes.
I was like, if there was a way to kill the space vampires, we would have fucking found it already. They're pretty nasty fucking customers. And I'm like, how you work in NASA? Like, how the fuck do you know how to kill space vampires? Don't question me, I worked on the Hubble.
I just do, okay?
I'm a former...
I'm British, so I know everything.
I work for Her Majesty's Royal Astrology Service. Okay? Just take the fucking sword and stab them between the third rib under the heart. It ruptures the nerve cluster.
He's been naughty.
Anyway.
So this is where you kind of tagged out.
War of the Planets.
Yeah, and this is part, like, this happens, is that you get punchy, and you will sack out. It happens.
I think we lost you here.
It's 24 hours, and I've been up, it's more like freaking 30 plus or something like that by that point.
You just flown in. So.
And so it becomes, like, for me, it was like phasing in and out of consciousness, that you just get flashes. And this was, the next one, no.
So you didn't watch this, really?
It was,
Kitten with a Whip?
Really, it was Code.
So this wasn't the next one?
See, that's the thing, is I don't even remember the fucking order. Like, all I remember is that...
Well, did this show?
Yes, both of those showed. So, War of the Planets, it happened. I can't tell you.
So you have no memory of this, really?
It seemed like my impression was it was kind of like a lesser end Star Trek.
Okay. Well,
so that happened, and then I was in for more of Kitten with a Whip, because I completely phased out of War of the Planet, so I was a little bit up for that. I went through, like, I missed the first third of Kitten with a Whip, but I'd seen it before because of MST3K.
Yeah.
And so I caught the rest of Kitten with a Whip. It's a... I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a strange, like, cautionary tale kind of thing. Because it's about this married man and this
juvenile delinquent
woman breaks into his house and
juvenile delinquent woman. Anyway, yeah, I know.
It's not Mamie Van Dorn, but it's one of those women from that
time.
And so he's sweet on her, but things go bad. Like, she draws him into a world of shit. And his flunky criminal buddies go, and things get so bad. Yeah. They go to Mexico, they rob shit, people get hurt, they have fights, cars get broken. It's the one crazy night that happens to this guy.
It's like The Hangover in the 50s.
Yeah.
No.
And it's like, you don't mess with the underage girls, because then Kitten with a Whip happens. That's kind of the movie.
April and I have seen this. We both had a problem with it. This is another one we had a problem. Not a problem, but we really questioned why this would be in the lineup, because we both think it's a legitimately good movie. We don't think it's a B movie.
It's not horrible.
We like the movie. Like, anyway,
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh dear Lord!
This was one I was actually looking forward to, because it really has been since my childhood since I've seen it. Yeah, and so I was like, because I've turned around a lot of movies.
I wish I had seen this one,
and I was like, maybe I can have fun with this.
Yeah.
Because I no longer have the thing of, like, this isn't Mario, because I never had that, but I still hated it as a kid. And so, but I was like, maybe this is, like, so dumb, it's fun, and I can have fun with it.
Yeah.
This was annoying the shit out of me.
Really?
Because, like, even the music, it's this do-do-do-do-do-do, like, it knows it's being cutesy.
Really?
And so it's this cloyingly annoying, like, we know we're being cute, so do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, look, Mario is getting in shenanigans. Whoop-a-do-do-do.
Really?
And so that was, like, the biggest indicators, like, Mario and Luigi are having their stupid banter with one another, and they can't just have it at being stupid banter. They might as well punctuate every scene with a boing or a wah, 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 because that's just how...
So it had really, like, on-the-nose, goofy music cues?
Yeah.
So it was like, what's your name? Mario. What's your last name? Mario. You kind of like,
this is whimsical.
So that's, yeah, little known fact, as a kid, this isn't the little known fact, but as a kid, at least in my case, I pretty much liked everything. You know, as long as it was generally, like, colorful and lighthearted and fun. I think most kids pretty much like anything, as long as it's, it's fun when it's fun. You know, it's a cartoon, it's got people having fun and playing. It's okay. Cartoons are fun, and it's got Looney Tunes, people hitting each other and generally having a good time, whatever. So, when I saw that, I like Nintendo. I was pretty much a Nintendo kid, so I was playing video games, and when I saw there was a Super Mario Brothers movie coming out, I was like, I didn't say shit, but I was like, I want to go see Super Mario Brothers. Because I saw The Wizard, and I fucking love The Wizard, and, when I saw I'm pretty sure Wizard came out first, so whatever. But when I saw the fucking curtains part in Super Mario Brothers 3 came out, that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. My standards were low, but whatever. So, like, when I heard Super Mario Brothers was coming and there's a live action, I was like, I gotta see this. You were probably that way, too. So, like, Super Mario Brothers, I believe, was, as a kid, the first movie that I walked out of that theater that I legitimately fucking hated. Like, as a kid, I didn't hate anything as a kid, really. But I walked out of that theater going, I hate that movie.
And still, like, I'm still not going, like, because I actually had a discussion, and someone was just like, well, what are you going to do with Super Mario Brothers? And I'm like, that's not the point. I'm not talking about this in like they ruined Super Mario Brothers, because I grant you across the board, you cannot make a movie out of Super Mario Brothers without being completely batshit insane. But it's just like, shit just happens in this movie. Mm-hmm. Because, like, Mario and Luigi are just walking around. This is what happens in the movie. They're just walking around in this new world. They run into this big fat bitch. And she's just like, give me your stuff. And they're like, what?
Who's the big fat bitch?
Just a big fat bitch.
Is she a mushroom, or is she
just
a big fat bitch?
She's just a big fat woman.
Okay.
And so...
Is it Fat Grandma?
And so she sees, like, one of the MacGuffin of this movie is there's a meteorite chunk, because that's what's going to open the key to both worlds. And so she sees this rock hanging around Luigi's neck and goes, I want that. Doesn't look like a diamond, doesn't look like it's gold, it's just a rock, common rock. And she's like, I want that. Rips it off, puts it around her big freaking cleavage, and then she clicks her heels, which are thwomp boots, which say thwomp on them, and so they cause her to jump. Like, giant streams of gas come out and she jumps.
Because the Super Mario Brothers, they
jump. Because Super Mario, they jump. And so she thwomps her way across, like, this chasm, because they're on the second floor of, like, this shopping center. Mm-hmm. And then she just goes. And you're like, well, that happened. And that's just it. Stuff happens.
Right.
A big black woman steals meteorite and thwomps her way out. Stuff happens. Koopa is going to have his giant standoff. And then Fungus sends a bomb. And I don't recall them ever really establishing the bomb. It just looks like a bomb. And I remember from the game that it's a bomb. But it's just like, oh shit. It's this thing that you wind up and it walks. And you're like, okay.
It's going to blow up.
And it never rests. Like, that's the other thing, is characters don't just sit around and go, like, have conversation. It's one nonsensical thing after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. And granted, again, maybe it's because I'm so dead tired. And I'm just like, I don't give a shit. But I was just like, this fucking movie needs to end. Because I'm getting really annoyed at this shit.
What's your name, Mario? That was the thing. Was as a kid when I walked out, I was like, I hate that movie, and then I started to think, why do I hate this movie? Because all of a sudden my world was opened. I was like, and then I started to critically analyze, why do I hate this movie? And I was like, is it because it's not like Super Mario Brothers? And then I was like, well, what if it was? Hang on a second. What did I expect? And my answer was, I don't know. What would a movie that was like Super Mario Brothers, the game, look like? And again, my answer was, I don't know. What the fuck? You can't make what? And like, so I honest to God don't know what a faithful Super Mario Brothers movie would look like. Live action, anyway. You know, the closest I can come up with is like, and this wouldn't be live action, but to put the cartoon on the big screen, you know, make a cartoon. But live action, fuck if I know, man. You know. But what was made on that screen wasn't it. It was god awful. Now, that's the reason I wanted to see it here, was to see it again, you know, maybe given the director, I would be able to appreciate it a lot more, you know, maybe to kind of see it with fresh eyes, you know, to at least kind of see the performances for a change, and it, you know, not just to see not to see all I could see at first was this isn't Super Mario Brothers. That was my only thought at the time. All I could see was this is annoying. I don't recognize this. That was all I saw at first. I thought maybe the second time around I would think what you were thinking probably, although now I don't think so. But yeah, that was the one thing I really wanted to see, and I missed that one. But obviously, weather, I couldn't even leave because of the weather until just before this one started, I think.
Yeah. And it was Code of the Secret Service.
Yeah, I didn't see this.
Which is a Ronald Reagan movie. And not one in which he slaps women around, so it's not interesting. And that was another one where I was slipping in and out of consciousness.
I don't blame you.
You just get, like, flashes. Like, I'm sitting there and I just go, like, what's going on?
Ronald Reagan.
Who is this running mate? Jerry Lewis. But it's just like, one of the officers is playing strip poker. Wait, what? What? Oh, Ronald Reagan's talking to some woman. I don't care.
So I take it nothing interesting.
So
when I returned, you were watching Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine. I only came in for the last 20 minutes.
Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine.
But okay. I listened to the last 20 minutes, and they were some of the best 20 minutes I've ever seen in my life.
And this is the testament to the movie, is that I'm so dead tired, and like I said, I'm just in and out of consciousness. Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine was that awesome a movie that I was just like, when I finally woke up and it was going on, I was like this throughout the whole movie, and I was just like cheering it on by the end.
Yeah.
It was that good. And kind of what it is we've seen, like last year they showed Beach Blanket Bingo, which was the standard, like, Frankie and Annette beach movie, which even that one I wasn't really wanting in a B-Fest just because it's not a bad movie.
It's just fluff.
It's exactly what they made it to be, which was tailored to a specific audience. And it was it delivered on what it was promising to that audience. It's not something that's generally riffable.
It's pretty people, fun music, and people having fun.
This is like the send-up of that.
Yeah.
And as someone else noted, it's the best live-action Scooby-Doo film you will ever make.
This isn't a riff movie.
And this is not, you're right, this is not like a spoof movie.
No.
This is like a loving send-up. It is... It's a satire.
This is a satirical movie. This is not the movie you riff. This is not really a B movie, but this is a great movie.
Because the story is that Vincent Price is Dr. Goldfoot.
Yeah.
And he had made the Bikini Machine, which is, it produces fembots.
Yeah.
Fembots that come out in gold bikinis. And his evil plan is that these golden bikini fembots will entice older people to sign away their entire life savings, and so that he gets the inheritance, or he gets whatever they give to these women as trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
And so Frankie of this movie finds out about the plan. He's trying to tell someone who's being duped by these bikini women that this is happening, and so it's kind of like a buddy movie,
right,
where he's trying to tell them that this is all a scam, and they go to Dr. Goldfoot's evil castle, and they go through various evil shenanigans because he's a mad scientist. And
he's got a spooky castle.
He's got a spooky castle, and it's got traps all over the place. And it is so amazing because everyone plays their role to a perfect T.
Igor.
Vincent Price, he is loving every single minute of this. He is hamming it up, and it really isn't just him like winking and nudging to people.
No, he's doing every Vincent Price role he's ever done, but turned up to 11.
Yes, and so he is like, there's this entire scene where he sits down the main characters for dinner, and he's trying to get them to eat and drink, and of course I'm not going to poison you. And he's like, drink this delicious wine. And I love this wine. And like one of them drips it out on the floor and it blows up. And he's just like, oh shoot. And he's like, well, go try. They're almost like, well, we don't have knives to cut up our meat. And he's like, oh, let me see if I can fix that for you. And so he flicks a switch, and knives shoot down from the ceiling and come in between their fingers. And he at every point he's just like, drat. And Frankie and they're just like mincing about the entire castle, like they're trying to sneak their way through, and he's just going,
yeah. And
all of this, like, I explain it, and I'm sure you'd just be like,
no,
they're overplaying their hand, like it's so over the top.
Yeah.
Like you think that they're being more overt about it, but they're being so like earnest about it again.
And I even told you, I was like, I'm watching this going like, if you describe this movie to me, my reaction would be like, but watching this movie, it is so great. Like, because like Vincent Price's performance is so like he's playing it straight, but he's playing it. It's still. It's almost like this is even the backup. I was almost gonna say like he's playing it Christopher Walken, but no, like he's playing it straight, but he's also playing it comedic. You know what I mean? Like he's playing Vincent Price turned up to 11,
and it's all. And another thing is that they do things that aren't always about riffing on that genre.
Yeah.
They do slapstick bits.
Yeah.
And they're inventive slapstick bits.
Yes. They invent new stuff, and it's so refreshing to see in an era where comedy is so dry.
It's not just people mugging and doing simple falling down.
Right. It's not falling down and like piss and shit and fart and dick gags.
Like these are set pieces where they are playing around with the scenery and just doing the final chase scene is like the culmination. What really shows it is because they go all the way with this premise and then some. It's this final chase scene where
this chase scene is epic.
The characters are trying to get away, and Dr. Goldfoot and Igor are chasing after them. And it goes on and on and on and on to its most ludicrous extreme. Now, they are getting away. It first starts off, they're in cars. They hijack one of Dr. Goldfoot's cars, and it's car on car, and Dr. Goldfoot has a machine that just blows up the car.
He has a remote control that can blow up cars.
And so they then go on to motorcycles. They switch up to motorcycles, and those get wrecked out too.
It goes on a trolley car.
They go on trolley cars. They're chasing trolley cars.
Which they off-road.
And then they move on to bicycles.
They steal a bicycle.
And then
he explodes.
Explodes. And then they jump onto a boat, which is on a trailer on a roadway, which is completely out of their control. They're just riding down the San Francisco streets.
No, it's not out of control, because for some reason the steering wheel on the boat controls the trailer, which you're just like, awesome. But then they wreck the boat trailer, which goes in the water. Yeah, so
and this just goes on, and it's amazing.
But you're saying on, and that may sound
not an exasperated.
But no, we're not saying that's a bad thing. We're like, it keeps escalating.
Yes,
and this is again, we're talking like slapstick, and this today slapstick just means like people getting kicked in the dick.
And this is good stunt work, too, because they're doing live car and motorcycle stunts that would be good in a normal action movie.
Yes.
And this is goofy Dr. Goldfoot chasing other people around and ha. And this is legit good. Like, they're going into oncoming traffic. I'm just like, wow, they're pulling out all the stops for Dr. Goldfoot and the fucking Bikini Machine. Like, this was my surprise movie of B-Fest. Like, I expect Robot Jox and Megaforce to be awesome, and they delivered and then some. Yeah. But in terms of movies I wasn't really expecting...
I don't think anybody expected this to be a shit, but...
I wasn't expecting it to be shit, But I was kind of expecting to be the same as Beach Blanket Bingo, where just like it exists and whatever and whatnot. And the same, like I was tuning in and out because I was so dead tired and I was falling asleep. But the fact that I woke up and I just saw it and I was hooked the whole way through. Like,
well, I perked up when I saw Vincent Price in the credits. I was like, oh, but that was, so I was a little more interested when I saw that. But wow, this movie was great. So yeah, check that one out.
Legit good comedy.
Really, really good. Ringing recommendation.
We were just laughing at it. We weren't even riffing.
From a guy who hates everything. The Raffle. Great movie. No.
But one last thing. The theme song was infectiously catchy, and it was sung by the Supremes. Which they somehow made a song out of just singing Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine.
We were dancing. My only funny note from the raffle was that they were giving away little prize bundles. And each one of these was like, DVDs, VHS tapes.
It's whatever people bring.
Yeah.
And there's some prizes, like they'll give away posters, or they'll give away cups, or they'll give away shirts. Like one company gave away shirts. But mostly, like to enter it in, people will just throw whatever shit they have lying around.
Novels of the Quantum Leap novel.
Yeah, I wanted to win the Quantum Leap novel.
You so did. You were...
I was so heartbroken when it didn't happen.
They were giving away DVDs of... What's that? Black Rose?
Black Roses. They're just like multi-DVD packs of like Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris movies.
Like classics, Manos, The Hands of Fate.
Someone gave away Shirley Temple movies.
Shirley Temple pack. Murder, She Wrote. What's her name? Angela Lansbury movie. And then, so everyone was like, every time they announced the movie pack of like really shitty actors or something like that, they'd be like, ooh, I want that. That's good. I haven't seen that. Black Roses got by far the most. The Last Unicorn, they're like, ooh. But then they announced one of the prize packs. And like, okay, and then we got a DVD of I Know What You Did Last Summer. And that was the only movie that got this reaction. Okay, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Keep in mind, they had a multi-pack collection of Shirley Temple movies, and people were like, yeah, I want that.
All right.
We are bad movie aficionados. Like, we come to watch the shittiest movies.
Every one of these movies, no matter how bad, we're like, see that?
We are people by our nature. We travel so far to watch 24 hours of the shittiest movies.
Birdemic, After Last Season, and be like, oh, I haven't seen that. I heard it sucks.
We are masochists.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
And we're like,
fuck. Seriously, people were like, I was looking around, and everyone would everyone's hand just went to their face. It was like, oh, fuck. So, that's the bar. I was like, that was interesting to me. That was a fascinating reaction to me, because I did the exact same thing. Because I was like, any one of those DVDs, they could see themselves putting in their player window.
Any one of those in my collection.
Any one of those,
my DVD
player. Any one of those Shirley Temple DVDs, that Angela Lansbury thing, Birdemic, I'd put those in. But if I won that fucking I Know What You Did Last Summer, just trash can. Fuck. If I won, the reaction if any, whoever won that was like, fuck. The Deadly Mantis, I have nothing to say about that movie.
It's the Deadly Mantis.
It's a prototypical B movie.
Yeah. It's a B monster film. Whatever.
You're the Hunter from the Future. This is the last movie we saw. It technically did not close the film festival, but we had to leave after this.
Yeah.
I reviewed it, so I pretty much have nothing else to say. I was mainly there to see the reactions to the big moments. The bat hang gliding. To me, the most exciting moments were like the second and a half of time it takes for people to kind of visually register what the fuck is happening. when, he starts initially swinging on the bat, you're like, what the fuck? Like when you finally recognize that this man is swinging on a dead bat to drop kick another man. Then the laughter begins, like that moment is really electric for me. Love it. When he beats the shit out of a Triceratops, I believe it is. And then he's like, hey! And everyone is like, hey! I was like, that was a good moment. I guess it's mainly just like what you thought, people reacted to best. I thought people liked it. I thought people were, I think people were initially had a good connection when I mentioned that he was Captain America. they were just kind of like, I don't know, this movie, it just kind of sounds interesting. And when I went up there, I was like, Reb Brown, he was Captain America, and they're like, oh, now we're paying attention. So yeah, I think it was good I mentioned that. People were loudly wondering at what point we were going to find out where the future hooked into it, which it was ironic. I think it was in the review that I asked the question, which was when I asked when I was first watching the movie, and then people who were kind of riffing the movie there were loudly wondering, aren't we in the future? Which was the second time he fought like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Which is exactly when lasers hit the fucking huts. So it's almost like when you start asking the question, the movie is like, oh right, the future. And then lasers hit.
And that is like the one negative about the film is it does in the second act drag.
Yeah.
To the point where, yes, you say it in the review and kind of everyone else goes, are we seeing the same thing? Because it goes back to fighting a dinosaur. And you're like, this is how we started the movie. Like, where is this movie going? And then, yes, Darth Vader shows up. Which that was another thing is you have the scene with the evil emperor, and then you get the back of someone.
It's Darth Vader.
And it's one of the robots, but from the back, in its shadow outline, it's Darth Vader with that helmet mask on.
It's Darth Vader.
You really only see it, and you think Darth Vader.
And it's the Emperor.
And that's what everyone in the theater saw, and they had that same reaction.
Now, he doesn't sound like the Emperor, but it's Darth Vader and the Emperor.
And that was when the true, hackery of it comes in, is when it looks like Darth Vader is invading your prehistoric caveman movie.
And, the villain's plan makes no sense. He wants to make a rice of pipples, but, he doesn't. He wants to make robots.
Out of the seed.
But he wants, Yor to, come in a robot. He does. He wants to,
He wants their seed for their robots.
He's like, I want to harvest your seed and make robots. And I'm like, yeah, but what? But he's like, I also want to kill everything, but I bring life. And I'm like, you make no sense. Shut up and make robots. And I'm like, no! And then there's, this whole thing where he's, intangible, but he becomes flesh like Lopan. And I don't know.
And he wants to conquer the world, and for no appreciable reason.
But he wants to conquer the world, but he wants to kill everything. I don't know. But yeah, this villain... And then they start fighting on the set of Space Mutiny. And I'm not joking. I think it is the set of Space Mutiny.
It might very well be.
I think it is. I think it's the same people. I think they're wearing the same outfits. Like the David Bowie people.
They're more tacky.
They might be more tacky,
Space Mutiny, but...
I think it legitimately is the same boiler room.
It could be the same location.
The thing is, the reason I think it may not be is I don't know if it's the same company that made it. Probably isn't, but my God, as soon as they start running around shooting lasers at each other, everyone was saying Space Mutiny? Because it's hard not to think that. It is so hard. Because let's face it. And I was wrong. He does go, because when he fights the dinosaur, that's the first thing he does. He doesn't do it often, but he does. Another one of my favorite moments is how disinterested the hairy, sweaty guy looks when he's shooting that laser. He's just I can't even duplicate it. It's almost like he's thinking of something else.
Well, it looks like me when I'm trying to program a remote or something like that.
Yeah, I can't even do it. It's like
Is it working?
Imagine if I'm doing this, but I'm shooting a robot. That's about it. This is like, but now, like, if there's a laser coming out of this and I'm shooting a robot, right now I'm like programming an alarm. That's about it. Yeah. He looks so. It's not even bored. He's just focused on something else. But there's a robot exploding there, and I'm like, what direction was this man given? I don't even know. That's about it. But they did have to seem. They had a great deal of fun. They were singing the theme song, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely want to go again. That was great. Notes for the audience. Deodorant. I don't mean to stereotype nerds, because I know this isn't the problem, but man.
It's hard to do when you're there 24 hours.
No, it's not. It is not. It is not hard to do. It's not.
Well, by the end, you get a little ripe. Like, even me.
No, it's not. It's not hard to do. Here's how you do it. You bring fucking wet naps. You take hooker showers. It's what I do. You bring fucking wet naps. You go to the bathroom. You scrub your pits. You take body spray. Spritz. You are fresh, my man. I'm not saying all nerds are dirty motherfuckers, but I'm saying if you're going to be there for a 24-hour film festival, you bring wet naps, you take a hooker shower 12 hours in, you are fresh for the rest of the time, my man. But you walk into those film festivals, 16 hours in, you get hit with a wave of fucking BO like a tidal wave. That room was getting rank, yo.
Well, then it's a lot of food that gets...
Yeah.
You snack in there.
Yeah.
It's
you get
a garbage can.
You get 125 nerds there eating nothing but fucking Funyuns, ripping ass in there. Yeah, you got the stench of BO and processed fucking carbohydrates and Funyun balls. Yeah, it's going to get nasty. Wet naps, body spray. Preferably not Axe. Axe should be banned by the Geneva Convention. If you own Axe body spray, fucking throw it away and then bury it. Preferably under concrete. Trust me, if you own Axe body spray, it's probably because you either got a free sample or you're under the delusion that women like it from those commercials. They do not. Okay? They do not. It was because they ran out of surplus, they had surplus sarin gas from the Iraqi war, and they didn't know what to fucking do with it. That stuff smells like liquid balls and death. Get rid of your Axe body spray. I don't care what you have to do. Get rid of it and get anything else. I don't care if you have to rub your pits in butter. Wear anything else. Not Axe body spray. This advertisement paid for by the Committee for Anything But Axe Body Spray. Also by SpooningExperiment.com. Anyway, anything else to say about B-Fest?
No, I love it. This is my second year, and this is a better year, but I love going to it.
So do I. I liked it. Hopefully next year it won't be snowing like fucking crazy again. If you saw outside the window, man, it is like fucking, it is like a wasteland out there. Driving there was not fun. I couldn't escape. Thank God I escaped before that fucking Ronald Reagan movie. I did not want to see that shit. And I'm a Drunken Tai Chi. Did you see that?
No.
Or we left. Yeah, that was the movie that really did close it out. Yeah. I was gonna say more, but probably best I don't talk about this now. Yeah, so yeah, I'll be there. I met some fans. I met some fans there who were obviously there to see Yor. I'm glad I got to meet everyone there who was there to see Yor and every other bad film. It's great that we had some. It's great that we had some films to bond there for. That's why we all go there, is to talk and bitch, talk about bad movies and riff about shit. That's what brings us all together. Is a love for these bad movies. They all have a common place. So. That's what we're here for, and that's why I have a job. You know, that's I once talked about. I talked about watching The Wizard. You know, and I was like, when I was watching The Wizard as a kid, I was like, you know, how great would it be to have that job? You know, as you know, to tour the world and play video games and do that for a living. And I realized I do that. You know, so being able to go around and meet fans and riff movies, that's so great. So being able to go to B-Fest and meet fans and watch movies and you know, shake hands and do that. Me and Miles, we get to do that. So we'll see you guys next year. I guarantee it. So we'll be there, and I'm so excited to see what's going on. See what movies and shit we get to watch, as long as it's not Ronald Reagan. So until then, and then epic world peace bro fist. Ugh.